We all know about two of the best professional golf players out there to ever swing a golf club and hit a golf ball, Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. With many trophies and championships between them, these two golfing legends have been very entertaining and exciting to watch. But you know what else is entertaining and exciting? Beef! And these two pro golfers have some beef between them. Let's see why these two hate each other. Firstly, Woods criticizes Mickelson's comments. We can't say that it was a fully direct attack from Tiger Woods, but he did say more than enough through his comments that were masked with criticisms for his professional golf rival, Phil Mickelson. His remarks on Mickelson's comments also showed just how little sympathy Tiger Woods had for his longtime rival's situation, who is going to miss that week's US PGA Championship. Mickelson was actually going to be competing to defend his PGA Tour title for the championship, though the breakaway tour, the talks related to Saudi Arabia, and Mickelson's remarks on the PGA Tour were making it a little difficult for him to do so. Tiger Woods did add that he hadn't spoken to Phil ever since he took a break from professional golf back in February. Phil Mickelson had some pretty strong and controversial comments regarding the PGA Tour, calling the championship greedy and obnoxious. The golfing star talked about how he also wanted leverage, which he'd been seeking through the finances of wealthy Saudi Arabia. Woods' comments were the complete opposite of his longtime rivals, as he was actually defending the PGA Tour and the current system in place for golf as a sport. Let's go a little deeper and have a look at Tiger Woods' response to Phil Mickelson's comments on the PGA Tour and his relationship with Saudi Arabia. Up next, Mickelson's comments on the PGA Tour. Back in February 2022, in a talk with Alan Shipnuck, Mickelson talked about how he was open to the idea of helping and working with Saudi Arabia towards launching a golf league on the same level as the PGA Tour. He did apologize later in October for the choice of words he used in his comments after his talk with Shipnuck, which was made open to the public. Though the golf star did get his message across when he called the PGA Tour and related people mother effers and talked about how the tour doesn't know anything about basic human rights. Mickelson clearly doesn't sit well with the PGA Tour, that much we've already established. But in the comments he gave, the golf star also talked about how this could be a once-in-a-blue-moon opportunity to change and reconstruct how the PGA Tour works and functions. You could tell Mickelson was trying to start a golf revolution of sorts. He wasn't satisfied with the current systems that are in place for golf right now. This is his opinion. There's nothing wrong with having one, of course, but what drew more attention and criticism towards him was the way he chose to communicate all this. He was very blunt and unforgiving when talking about teaming up with the Saudis. And of course, other pro players of the same level as the golf star started speaking up about being loyal to the PGA Tour. Tiger Woods has been pretty outspoken about Mickelson's comments. Let's take a look at what Woods had to say. Up next, Woods' opinions on Mickelson's comments. Tiger Woods, when discussing Mickelson's comments, started off by talking about how the two of them had their own opinions on the game of golf. The golfing legend talked about how he'd been backing the PGA up and how for years his own foundation has been running multiple events on the tour. Woods also brought up old golf legends like Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer, talking about how they broke away from America's PGA and created their own back in 1968, which is something Woods called a legacy. He talked about how playing out here for the past couple of decades is also a legacy, and we don't disagree. The man is a golf legend. He also added that he thinks the tour has a lot of big opportunities to offer. While acknowledging different opinions, the 4 times pro major golf champion talked about how he loves big events and major championships, as well as popular figures in golf history and comparison with them. It makes sense as to why he'd back up Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer. Woods said that the tour is still evolving and that there's still a lot of money up for grabs, comparing golf to other sports like tennis. He said you just have to go out there, put in some effort, and earn it. The opportunities are already there. He just says you shouldn't take it for granted. For Tiger Woods, if you want to win trophies or make money from golf, you'll have to seize the opportunity and just do it. Sounds like a real go-getter if you ask us. It's no wonder the man's a 4 times pro major golf champion. Let's talk a little more about Phil Mickelson's apology. It's been a shared thought in the golf community that Phil Mickelson had really done a number on his image as a golf player and also just as a person in general. In Mickelson's lengthy online apology, he talked about how he was careless and reckless and how he ended up offending and insulting a lot of people. This is where he said sorry for the choice of words he used in his earlier comments back in February. Mickelson talked about how he'd let himself down and was disappointed in himself. It also included the golf star saying that he's going to reflect on this and try to learn from everything that's happened. Though Mickelson didn't mention exactly what he thought may have offended and insulted people. And he also talked about Live Golf Investments, which is a golf entity that is backed by Saudi Arabia, with Greg Norman, Hall of Famer, as its head. The same entity that's also working towards making this new rival league for the PGA. Mickelson sheds a positive light on them, saying the specific people that he'd work with had been pretty supportive. He called them visionaries and spoke about how passionate they are about golf and that they make him want to improve upon his game even more. The American golfer talked about how golf needs to change desperately and talked about how there's always resistance to big changes. The resistance he talks about seems a lot like a backlash that he's gotten in early 2022. It sounds like Phil Mickelson is trying to start a golf revolution of sorts. Coming up, Mickelson says he's a martyr in his off-the-record comments. Phil Mickelson's last title win in the PGA Tour made him the oldest person ever to win a major golf tournament in his early 50s. But the six-time major champion, after all his glory, cast everything aside and made himself a martyr to change his sport. In the same social media note, Mickelson started talking about how there's always going to be criticism and pushback when you're trying to do something new, something that people aren't used to. The golf legend said he chose to put himself in the center of all this in hopes that he'd inspire some change in golf as a sport. He said while he's taking blows publicly, he's also working behind the scenes towards something new. He really does sound like a revolutionary, we're not going to lie. Mickelson, in what started off as an apology, also addressed his earlier talk with Alan Shipnuck as well, talking about how the biography he's writing about the golfing star is unauthorized. He added that his comments to the writer were off the record and said that Shipnuck has been sharing them without giving any context. Alan Shipnuck, who has been writing for Sports Illustrated and Golf Magazine for a long time and is now working with the Fire Pit Collective, obviously has a response to that part of Mickelson's lengthy note. Let's see what Shipnuck had to say. Coming up, Shipnuck's response to Mickelson's accusations. The longtime writer tweeted out as a response to Phil Mickelson's accusations against him. Shipnuck said that Mickelson is lying and that his comments were definitely not off the record as the golf star claims them to be. Shipnuck talked about how Mickelson didn't even once ask him to keep this off the record, not on text or neither any of the times they spoke on call. The writer said that he also never consented to keeping this off the record. He added that even if Mickelson had asked him to keep this under wraps, Shipnuck would have resisted, as this was good material for the biography he was writing. The writer did have his own thoughts to share on Mickelson though. Alan Shipnuck thinks that the golf star did want his real thoughts out there, but as always was working on both sides of the argument. The six-time major champion has really changed his image in the eyes of professionals, writers, and fans in general. He's been regarded as one of the best, serving as a rival to Tiger Woods. Let's talk a little about the Woods-Mickelson rivalry. Lastly, the legendary rivalry between Woods and Mickelson. One of the most exciting things to see in golf's been the rivalry between Mickelson and Woods. To this day, fans have been split between who the better golfer is. The two are definitely known as the best players of their time. Mickelson's won 4 major championships, the same as Ernie Els as the people with the second most major championship wins. Woods is pretty far ahead of both of them, with 14 major titles to his name. In fact, if Tiger Woods wasn't around, Mickelson would have probably won more titles than Els. It's no surprise that the two have been fierce rivals. Neither star really likes the other, though recent times have been less tense between the two. The rivalry started in 1996 when Woods turned professional. Mickelson had already been around a while, but Woods caught up pretty fast as he dominated the PGA for years to come. He became the youngest player to win a major championship, and the two finally met in a final. Mickelson had earned second and third places, but Woods had won 5 major titles by then, and Woods ended up finishing the Tiger Slam. The two met many times over the years and entertained us all, and the rivalry will always be remembered as one of the best and most exciting rivalries in golf history. Let's see what the future of golf has in store for us now. That's a wrap for this video. Which one of these legends do you like more? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.